then function. Functions in C. What is function? Here we have listed something.
Yes, sir.
What is mean by basic building block? Usually when the people says, when the people asked about, when people are asked about functions, they used to say it is basic building block. What it is?
So when we want to do the repetitive action, sir.
Yeah.
So this block, for example, we need to do some addition or multiplication. So we prepare a code that is a basic block. So we can use that block multiple times. Whenever we can call that block multiple times whenever we require.
Okay, brilliant. So to construct our home, we use bricks, right? Multiple instant of bricks are used to build a beautiful home that we have. Like that, the brick is again a collection of materials, collection of objects packed together. What are the contents of a brick? It has a sand, and then we have a clay and other materials, and it is prepared in a specific environment. They burn it and they prepare it. It comes as one nutshell, right? This nutshell is repeated to build a beautiful home, right? So like that, the function contain a set of statements, programming statements. Those can be reused again and again when we design a bigger software project. That's why they call that as basic building block. Self-contained. What is meant by self-contained? We have a word self-contained. Now, what it is? What is the meaning of what is the real meaning of that? Every function self-contained means you should have your own entrance and exit. Right. I have a home. Myself and my brothers are sharing a single home. We use a common way to go in and go out. It is not self-contained. If my brother is using the pathway, I cannot use it right now. That is not self-contained. So self-contained means you should have your proper entrance to your exclusive room or house, and you should also have the proper exit which is not shared with any other person, any other person. Like that, a function will have its own entrance and its own exit. It won't share that to any other code. That means uh, a function cannot use the body of another function. That is what it means. So they have their own entrance and they can work together. That is not a problem. One function can call another function. Those things can happen. But they have a proper mechanism. They have a proper set of rules to use them. This is the entrance. You have to come to this entrance with these requirement, with these inputs. When after I perform the action, this is how I exit. So that is called self-contained. Usually the function used to have the parameter list that we have to input to them, and then as well as they have a return after processing what they are going to return. That is an exit procedure for a function. That's why it is called a self-contained. Cannot define function within a function. So I cannot go and define a function within another function. That is not possible. All functions are independent. So again, there the self-contained property is coming here. See, if you look at a C program, what is the main function? What is the important function in a C program? Amir,
Pardon, I'm sorry.
I have a C program. In that, which function is very important function?
In C program.
Hmm. I have written a C
Main.
program in a file. Main. Main is a very key function right now. Without main, no C program will work because that is the entrance. Right. From there only the program execution starts. Can I define a function called add within main? Amir,
No answer.
why?
We just need to call add function and we need to define it in other block.
Usually, every function should be defined in a separate place. They cannot one function cannot contain another function. They can call it, they can invite it, but one function cannot define another function. If we cannot define a function within a function, that is very baseline rule. That's why in C we have something called as function prototyping and then function descriptions. Like the two things will be there. Both of them will be outside the main function. Any user defined function that you write in C, that will be outside the main, not inside the main. Not only inside the main, not inside any function. They won't be part of the function definition is not part of a function. No, that cannot be because they are self-contained. Everyone are independent. Every functions are independent object. Right now, one cannot define another one. So that's why they are saying they cannot define a function within a function, must be contained in a single file. So the function that you define should be there in a file. All right. So you can use a multiple files to define multiple functions. It's not the problem. Your definition and then your description both should be there in a single file. That's what they are trying to say here. A function can call another function. A function can call another function. That is allowed. The function prototype provide the recognition before we use it in another function. Right. The function, there is something called as function prototype. Right. That should be done before you use a function in main. Whether you define a function at the very end, you complete function description is at the very end, that is not a problem. You cannot use it without a prototype. So you have to tell main that I have this function that you can use in your main. If you want to look the description of it, it is at the bottom. So you go and refer there. But I have to intimate main before it start executing the statements that I have some function with which accept this much of parameter and this is what its return type. So we have to communicate that to main before we use any function in main. That is very important. If we don't do that, it will throw error. It won't work. Right now, these are some of the key things that we have to be aware of, that we should have a knowledge about function, right? These are the important things to know about function. So when you want to declare a function, you need to have a return type, name of the function, parameter list within a parenthesis. Then you should have a brace and should have your definition of your function, right? Whatever the definition is. At the end of that, if you want to return something, you can return it right now. Right. So let us create a function now to demonstrate some function which compute the factorial. Right. So for that, maybe we can use this math function to which generates a sine wave, something like that. Right now. So GCC, no, Notepad plus plus gen vehicle speed dot C. Hash include math.h. hash include stdio dot h, right? Then I define a function called float sine wave float fi information frequency, and then float fs sampling frequency. You can say, I think you need not say variable names here, just you say float. It accepts two variables of type float. That's all. This is called function prototype. I just prototype the function. I just communicate the main that I'm going to have a function which is with this name. It accepts two float parameters. And the result will also be a float. That is what the things that I communicate to main first. Only then I can use that function in my main. Right. After that, int main. I use for loop here. Int rider equal to 0 for rider equal to 0, rider less than 10. We are generating some 10 samples. Rider plus plus. Right. Then we need a sample right now. Float sample is equal to sine 2 into pi. We have to define a pi. Let me define pi. Define pi 3.144 into rider into fi divided by fs. Brilliant. So I have to call this. I have to write this in a function. So what I do is, let's say sine wave. I pass rider, and then where is fs and fs? Okay, maybe float fs equal to 8,000. Float fi is equal to 1,000. Fi 1,000 fi comma fs. This we are simply passing it. What a sine wave function will do, this is the description about that function. Float sine wave int index int fi float fi float fs. So these are the three input parameters that we have to give to this function to work. So what this function will do, it will compute something called a sample. How it computes that? Sample equal to, it simply use the math function sine, right? 2 into pi into index into Fi divided by Fs. This is the expression. This will give a sample. Return sample. That's all. That much simple it is. So it will do, we will generate the sample, 10 different sample. Every time when we generate a sample, we print the sample. Printf sample %d equal to %f index plus 1 comma, sorry, rider plus 1, rider plus 1 comma sample. Okay, here also we need a float variable. Right, perfect. So we just print that sample, and then at the end of the day we just return. Right, do you understand what this function going to do? It is going to generate 10 different sine sample with the information frequency 1 hertz, 1 kilohertz, and the sampling frequency is 8K. With that, it is going to generate a sine samples. Let us see whether it is doing the job. I think we have given a name, no? Then vehicle speed. GCC gen vehicle speed dot c gen vehicle speed dot exe. So it's expected statement before token. What is the problem? Rider less than 10, rider plus plus.
Ebola in answer, it's not Terminator.
Perfect. Right now, we get a, see here, 0, 0.7, which is 0.99, which is 1, again 0.7, then which is minus 0.000, which is almost equivalent to 0, then minus sample 7 is minus 0.9, which is like minus 1. 0.99, right? Yeah, minus 9, then minus 7. Okay, it is something like this. This is sine, na? So it comes like that. 0 and 0.7 and then 9, which is 1. From there again 0.7, then 0, minus 0.7. Why we are not getting it? Yeah, here we have minus 0.7. But before that, are we missing any sample? Sample 1, sample 2, sample 3, sample 4. Okay, let me do like this. I think it is a little bit confusing. It is generating a sine wave actually, but I am for me it appears to me one sample is missing. 0, 7, 9, 7. This is again 0. Then minus 7. See here. I think that was missing. Sometimes my laptop makes mistakes. Right? We didn't get minus 7, right? Okay, we are getting it, but I think I made mistake. So minus 0.7 and then minus 1, which 9 means minus 1, then again minus 0.7, 0. So it goes like a sine wave. Right? If you plot these samples, you will get a sine wave right now. So if you look at this, we have a function prototype, which is having a parameter list to be passed. After that, we are using that function here, which is user defined. How the key knows about this function? Moment it sees this prototype, it will check for a definition, whether they have somewhere definition written to it. It will simply register that address in its memory. When the function is called, they will use that address to go there. While they are going to run that function, they will go with these inputs because those are required for that function, like index, information frequency, sample frequency. With that, they go there. There they generate the sample using the formula 2 pi into index into fi by fs. That is the formula to find out sine discrete sample. And then they return sample, the whatever the recent sample that we are getting. So we are just printing it. So this is entry to this function. This is exit to this function. Within that, we have a function body. This is function prototype. This is called as function call. Any doubt you have in this up to now in functions?
Clear, sir.
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Okay, team.